Very possibly. I mean, it certainly leads to higher ruble prices and higher gold prices. I mean, the Europeans are kind of whining and saying, well, we're not going to do that. And Russia's response was, okay, well, on March 31, we're going to cut off the gas. We're not giving it to you for free. So you can decide whether you want to pay with rubles or gold or no gas. We'll shut the pipelines down. To back up a bit, I've said this in other videos, but just reiterate it. I mean, I think what just happened with, Russia, and, I no way condone any wars or any behavior on the part of these guys, and Putin's not a good guy, but what just happened with Russia, though, is similar to what happened to De Gaulle in '71. The French really pushed us off the gold standard. They forced Nixon to abandon the gold backing of the dollar at the time at $35 an ounce. The reason is that our gold reserves in the United States were getting, drained very quickly. And Nixon realized that they were critical, and so he said, well, I'm shutting that window. And so it's a little different, but it's similar because I think what Putin did, I think he did the calculation and he said, these guys are highly levered. They need stuff. I'm a big provider of stuff. They're behaving in a way I don't like around a country that's a satellite of mine. They're, potentially trying to get them into NATO and to put missiles near my doorstep. And I'm going to hit them economically. I'm going to basically say that I'm not going to sell my stuff, if that's the way they're going to behave. And of course, the minute he declared the war, the United States responded with huge sanctions and shut down the SWIFT system. But probably more importantly, I think it's really was an earthquake. I'm sure Canadians can relate to this because what your Prime Minister Trudeau did to the truckers was kind of an earthquake. He just kind of said, look, if you're behaving in a way we don't like, we can seize your money. And Trudeau said that you support the truckers, we seize your money. I mean, that's no due process, no courts, no nothing. Well, the United States just said that with respect to, reserves stored in the Western financial system. So, obviously Russia had all these financial reserves and we just said, nope, sorry, we're freezing that. And, it's one, it's breaking the law. Two, it's theft. Three, those are monies that they earned fairly. And so the war really is a kinetic war, obviously terribly sad, but on the monetary side, it's actually even more interesting because it's really a monetary war as much as it's a kinetic war. I mean, hopefully the kinetic war will kind of get sorted out and calm down. I don't know because of crazy people on both sides of it, but on the monetary side, it really is an earthquake because what Russia provides in terms of both oil and gas and food, wheat, and the Ukraine as well, is pretty essential to the world functioning. You can't just take it all offline and expect the world economies to not have a serious problem, and they're going to have a serious problem. There's going to be, there's going to be a food crisis, I imagine, from what I can see, and I think Putin accurately calculated that, the gold suppression, the Western gold suppression scheme, and that the Western fiat currencies were what have allowed the U.S. to kind of dominate the world and live at the expense of other people. I mean, the point that De Gaulle made was that, Americans have an exorbitant privilege. Everyone else in the world has to work to produce services or goods, to get $100, and the Americans can print one. And that's why, so Americans live better than the world as a result of that reserve currency status. And so my sense is what happened is Putin finally came to the conclusion, you know what, I've had enough of this. I'm not selling my real stuff for fake paper. I'm going to withdraw from the game. Let's see how you guys do. And the thing that's interesting to me is the West has reacted with demonize him. He's a bad guy. This will never work. We've got all the cards. But in fact, to me, it sounds like they kind of know that he's made a pretty powerful move. And they're whining about it a lot, and they're trying to demonize him. But the fact of the matter is, it was a pretty good chess move, and the West is going to have a serious problem in dealing with it. Is kind of how I see it, and it's enormously bullish for the sound money thesis, for the gold and silver thesis, because it's a sovereign nation, with nuclear weapons saying, we call bullshit on this fiat. That's what he's basically done, as I see it. So and it's enormously positive. Short term, it hasn't been so great. I mean, it's kind of like, things are kind of bouncing around. We got a nice pop up above 2,000 a little while ago. It's correcting again, and this is pretty normal. I mean, I'm sure that the U.S. government and other governments have been printing paper gold and paper oil, to try and get everything under control and prove that they're still in control. But in the longer run, the markets are going to win out. It's paper gold is not real gold, and they're going to demand delivery and settlement, and you can't deliver paper. So.